Colleen Campbell, and if you're joining me right now, you're probably hearing that rain pelting down on your roof, right? So we figured we would do a stream here to walk through the weather together. Our show ended at 7 p.m. and we want to do a little extra coverage with you because we have an ongoing flash flood warning, of course, due to all this heavy rain that's being dumped on top of our region right now. Let's zoom into that polygon now. I will say the line of this heaviest rainfall is starting to move outside of the polygon, and we could see that extended. Now, this was highlighted because these areas under that maroon shading have seen 3 to 4 inches of rainfall for today. And with that strong line that just moved through within the hour, 1 to 2 inches easily picked up in some of these locations. There also have been reports of some stranded vehicles from that higher water. We are trying to get confirmation on that. Those are just reports that we heard of. But yes, this has included Hillsborough, Pasco, and Pinellas County. Now, like I said here, the line is starting to move down toward the southeast. But still producing a lot of rain for places like St. Pete Beach, over there in Tierra Verde. Also, you can see over by Gandy, of course, where our station's located, getting a whopping rain right now. Feather Sound, this is all areas that's just seeing a lot of rainfall at this time. I have this on a loop. Let's go into relative velocity, because one thing that we look out for with these systems would be some isolated spin ups. Now, the threat for tornadoes overall low for today, but what happens here is we usually have water spouts that try to spin up and move on shore. Now, I will say that most of the heavier rain is starting to move away from the shoreline and move more inland. Right now, I'm not seeing anything too suspect, but earlier I did see a little velocity signature out in the Gulf that indicated we could have some rotation out there. Certainly not impossible when you have all of that lift, that buoyant air. It was very warm and humid before this system moved in. We had some southwest winds pumping in all that moisture and energy. And then on the back side of the front, we have all that cooler air. So that's also giving that extra wedge, that lift, right? So not out of the question. This is a weather event that's very unusual for this time of the year, and the models have really been struggling trying to pick up on the timing of this system, just because we really don't see systems like this for this time of the year here in Tampa Bay. All right, so getting into the rainfall estimates from today, look at that streak of purple that you see on your screen there, as well as the maroon colors, indicating locations that had 3 to 4 inches of rainfall from earlier today. This is over the past 24 hours, but these are the areas that really had issues with flooding with the recent heavy rain, because that rain, 3 to 4 inches plus another inch or two easily gathered within the hour here. So those are places that are certainly prone to flooding. You get a lot of runoff in a situation like this. The ground just cannot absorb it because it's coming down at such a rapid rate, which is a good and a bad thing. The soil may not absorb it, but it is helping to replenish our waterways that have been, of course, depleted in the drought conditions that we have been sitting through. Looking at the precipitation again on the larger picture here, that streak of purple showing really where that front has been placed throughout the area. It's a slow moving front. I am expecting to see higher rainfall totals as the night goes on for some places that are shaded in the blue. That's because that front hasn't quite gotten down to that area yet. All right, so let's regroup here and bring this back to our radar. There is a severe thunderstorm warning on the other coast. That keeps popping up because these boxes, if I don't zoom in close enough, the flash flood warning that is in our area, that goes until 9:15. And so far they have not extended that polygon, but you can see the heaviest of the rain has moved outside of that area that's boxed off. Now, keep in mind that flooding can absolutely occur after a heavy rainfall event. In fact, it can occur 6 hours after a heavy rainfall event. And that's because, again, those streams, those waterways, they can basically swell and lead to some additional flooding even after the heaviest of rain has passed. I want to put this at a standstill here and kind of do a little radar tour so we can see what we're working with as far as the areas getting the heaviest of rain at this time. So again, places that are shaded in this maroon color. Let's get a nice zoom in here of some streets. 54th Avenue Also by MLK. This is south of 275, also on the east side of 275. Just outside of Pinellas Park, Kenneth City certainly had the heavier rain earlier, but now that's moving out of Kansas City. Gandy, right on top of our station. Man, we are getting a whopping rainfall at this time. Let's check out those rainfall rates. Yeah, almost 3 inches an hour. Now, luckily, this is not sitting on top of our area for an hour straight, but that is a moderate to violent rainfall. It's coming down in buckets, and we can certainly hear it on our roof. Moving on to, let's go across the Gandy now into Tampa. Bayshore Boulevard, just north of that, they have some heavy rain, pretty significant rain. Ybor City, moderate rain falling down in that area at this time. Yeah, this line, you can really see where the front is currently placed. You can spot it right there. Frequent lightning as well. Lightning is always a good indicator that whenever we see lightning increasing, that means that the storm is gaining strength. So I would keep the lookout down here out by Sarasota, just offshore of Bradenton especially. We have some lightning that's still caught up. Anna Maria, if they're not seeing rain, if you guys aren't seeing rain right now, you will soon. Look at that. You have a lot of heavy rain just to the north of you, over by the Skyway. Likely pretty wet scene there. So Anna Maria, you are going to get poured on soon here. And then just offshore by a couple miles there, Sarasota, they will have some of that heavier rain as well. Now this is all lining up with the timing of this. Let me see, I had a graphic that I could bring up. Where did I put it? Showing the timing of today's system. This should be it. So, excuse me, I updated this earlier today, right before our show started this evening. So it says 5 p.m. because that was around the time that I was editing this graphic. But so far, it's right on time, right? The heaviest of the rain, the storms, and those primary threats currently moving through our area. It is now 8 o'clock, so it's inside that window. Actually, it did speed up a little bit, the timing of the system. So as that front continues to sink southward, we are getting the heaviest of rain across areas like Tampa, St. Pete, Hillsborough, Pinellas County. And this will continue its journey down to the south and moving into portions of Manatee and Sarasota County, DeSoto, Hardy, all of our southernmost areas that really have been waiting for the rain. They haven't really received as much rain as we have here, closer to 275 and kind of I-4 territory. Again, the system moved from the north and is coming south. It's a typical front. It's just we usually don't have these type of things this time of the year. The severe threats for today overall were low. But you see that tornado threats, that's shaded in the green. It looks like they recently updated this because earlier it was for the entire area that was shaded under that marginal risk. So it looks like what the National Weather Service and the Storm Prediction Center did here was trim that back a bit. And it makes sense, right? Because the bulk of that front has now moved past places like Wesley Chapel. It's basically draped right on top of the Tampa area right now, and it will continue its journey down to the south. So the Storm Prediction Center just trimmed back that threats, the overall threat they see on the far left there. That is the lowest level of threats, but it's not zero. Tornado threat is overall low. We're talking 2 to 4% for that, meaning that we could have a water spout. Usually is the situation that happens there that moves onshore, or we do get a little bit of rotation within that line of storms. But so far so good. Haven't had any reports of any spin ups. And wind, straight line gusty winds, that's actually a higher threat for that. It's 5%, so it's low overall, but higher than that tornado threat. So straight line winds, absolutely a possibility. You could have 60 mile per hour in winds, especially as the storm collapses. And that's usually when you get those straight line winds out of that. All right, so we've had a series of weather impact alerts throughout the weekend. And looking ahead, we're going to continue that weather impact alert through tomorrow morning until about 9 a.m. Now, as we mentioned, some of our northernmost locations already starting to dry out. Pasco County starting to dry out at this time, as well as Hernando County. But Hillsborough and Pinellas County, they're in the thick of it at this time. And then it's going to continue south of us as we move throughout the night. But some of that rain will start to slow down. I'll show you that on Futurecast in just a second. The impact would be the rainstorms gusty winds, and then of course that tornado threat overall low. And what you need to do, stream with us. You're doing it right now. Also have those alerts turned on your phone. Anytime we need to update you with anything, it's simple, it's easy, boom. And it's right in the palm of your hands. We've been getting a couple of special weather statements. I just saw on my phone, reminded me. They usually issue those special marine weather statements whenever there is a possibility of a spin up. And again, a setup like this is something we usually see in spring, and that's when we can get those water spouts. All right, so getting into the surface map, let's see where our front is draped. We had a warm front, so the front overall stalled out, and you'll see it moving there. So throughout the day, we had all of that daytime heating, even as cloudy as it was, with a southwest wind, and that basically brought a surge of moisture, surge of warmth, and provided just enough energy for these storms really to cry themselves out, right? And we've been lacking rainfall. We've been so dry. We're in an extreme deficit for really across the area. Some areas are a little bit more in the hole than others, but the warm front today really provided the moisture needed for these significant downpours. Again, more typical for a springtime system. But zooming out of this picture here, yeah, you can see that main line. We will have some residual rain on the back side of that front. You can still see it kind of draped across the Nature Coast and the Big Bend area. Those leftover showers, that's just in the wake of our front. But the main front is moving through right now. We've been telling you this throughout the weekend that although we did have bouts of heavier rain yesterday, this is the main event. This is what we have been waiting for. And really that line is starting to just approach Manatee County. It's kind of brushing against the northern part of Manatee County. So I would expect within the hour, places like Parrish, Bradenton, Anna Maria, we just mentioned that, moving out of Pinellas County and into Manatee County and Sarasota County. Those will be the places that will see the rain. And we're not forgetting about you over there in Polk County. You are also getting a nice downpour right now. Let me see if I could turn off the surface map because we got that big squiggle in the middle of your screen. There we go. So places like Lakeland, frostproof, pretty dry right now, frostproof Lake Wales. But these are places that are also going to have that heavier rain. That line is breaking apart just a pinch, but it really extends across the state where we still have some heavy downpours for anybody who's traveling. And of course, that severe thunderstorm warning over there by I-95 on the Atlantic coast. All right, let's see what we can do here. Let's walk through our high res model. How about that? So we're going to stream until about 8:30. Luckily, I have not seen any extension of the flash flood warning. It's actually pretty surprising because of those rainfall rates I was showing you. But again, some reports that we received can absolutely help trigger those flash flood warnings. So if you ever see any ponding or flooding in your area, please make sure you send in that report because that helps not only us, but the National Weather Service too. And of course, we communicate with them as well. But here's the high res model walking through Futurecast together. This is moving from current time into the next hour. Again, this line will be sinking south. You can see it moving south of Anna Maria at that time, Bradenton, Lakewood Ranch, Sarasota, starting to see heavier rain within the hour, moving out from Pinellas and Hillsborough County. Moving in that southward direction, Fishhawk getting one more pop, and that line really extends up to the northeast there, so it's just kind of on that slant, on that diagonal, bringing leftover rain to our friends over in Daytona Beach within the hour. Again, for any of our friends that are watching on the other coast. Since this is a stream, we do get viewers that are not only here, but also, on the Atlantic coast as well. Okay, there we go. We're gonna let me move that for a second. Moving forward into 10 p.m., looks like things do start to slow down a bit, at least for our area. However, my friends down in Southwest Florida, they will also be getting some heavy rain. I just saw one of the meteorologists I follow from back home in Philly. She's in Southwest Florida, so she's gonna get a taste of some Florida weather that's unusual for us this time of year. This is usually a springtime pattern, but hey, let's do it. We certainly need it. All right, moving into the overnight hours around 4 a.m. This is that residual rain I was just telling you about on the back side of that front. It will basically get a second round, not quite as intense as it is tonight and this evening, but enough rainfall where it will accumulate and kind of gather again for the morning commute. So this is going to be a concern. So let's push this a little bit further into about 6, 7 a.m. Bam, 275, I-75, even I-4. I-4 looks a little bit drier, but if you get closer to Lakeland, they could also have some ponding out that way. Could have another bout of some heavier rain for your morning commute tomorrow. That's why we extended that weather impact alert. If anybody's been joining us the last couple of days, we said, you know what, let's throw Monday in there too. Because Monday morning, although we will have a short little lull and things will slow down and the majority of the front will be out of here, this is on the back side of that front, and there will be just enough energy and moisture left over for another round of rain, just for a few select locations. But some of that rain will come down at a good pace at times, and during the morning rush hour, forget it, right? Nobody wants to see that during their morning commutes. The good thing is it will be out of here around 8, 9 o'clock, and then we will start to dry out. So that's great news. How much rainfall can we gather within the next couple of days here? Now, this is not including today. Keep that in mind. This forecast model is saying, okay, how much rain are we going to get from this point forward tonight, the remainder of tonight, not counting the rain that we had earlier, into Wednesday, and we still could gather more than a ½ inch of rain. Obviously, most of that will be coming within the next hour, and then we will have that second little pop Monday morning, tomorrow morning. And I say most of it coming because, well, we have a dry stretch of weather after this front finally does push through. Now, just like that, on top of our roof, I've been listening to the rain. It's been pelting down on our ceiling. Sounds like it's slowed down and it's quieter. So, yeah, there's the latest front there. Let's see if we can, are we going to a break? Oh, okay, yeah, let's take a quick little drink of water, get a break, and we'll regroup, and when we come back, we'll check out some local cameras.
Before hurricane season hits, it's time to prep your home. Familiarize yourself with where your water shutoff valve is located. If backflow prevention devices are installed, get them tested annually.
Those are some great tips, and Cool Today is here to help you weather the storm. For over 60 years, we've been here to help Floridians with their cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. We can help you prepare, protect, and repair your home. Call 888-40-TODAY.
I was driving when a Ford pickup truck barreled into me from behind, sending me to the hospital.
I knew my husband was going to need an excellent attorney, so I called Dan Newland.
I'm so glad my wife called Dan. Dan really fought for me. He won my case and got me $650,000.
If you've been involved in a car accident, allow me to fight for you. Call me now at 813-888-8000.
Thanks, Dan, for winning my husband's case.
This autumn, give your home the upgrade it deserves. Save up to 20% during California Closet's Autumn Upgrade event, making it easier than ever to transform your space with our select finishes. Whether it's a walk-in closet, home office, pantry, or garage, our designs are about more than organization. They're about creating space for what belongs. We call it practical magic, expert design that feels effortless. Visit one of our 3 Tampa Bay showrooms or schedule your complimentary consultation today at CaliforniaClosetsTampaBay.com.
Windows are created and installed with different levels of quality. Unique quality that can withstand the tropical climate. Our installers only install PGT custom windows and doors, so we are the go-to experts. Don't take my word for it. We have been named Best of Tampa Bay 3 years in a row, Reader's Choice in Sarasota 3 years in a row, and nationally recognized as Window and Door Dealer of the Year. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Give WeatherTight Windows a call today, and don't forget the cookies.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are looking at the Howard Franklin Bridge. This is leaving Tampa, I believe. Leaving St. Pete, leaving St. Pete, going to Tampa. A couple raindrops on the camera right now. It is hard for me to see. Now, it looks like most of the heavier rain is pushing out from that area, so things will start to improve soon. For anybody that's driving out on the roadways, make sure when they get home safely, don't text or call them, of course, when they're out on the road. But things are definitely slick out there for tonight. You can even see the camera really shaking around as those gusty winds riding along with these storms kind of shake things up. All right, and then we have another camera, I believe. Yeah, this is 275. And blurrier view for sure. Definitely seeing some better rain out that way. And that is near the Ulmerton Road exits, where things are not as clear as the first camera that we showed you. Both cameras showing areas that are starting to improve. I know we're in the thick of it right now. Depending on your location, still getting a lot of heavy rain at this time. I want to jump over, let me see if I can bring up our camera outside of our studio. Yeah, so I was telling you guys before we went to break, Marv, if you could bring up graphics. So this is the Gandy. Our station's located right on the Gandy. And, 5 minutes ago, it was really pelting down on the ceiling, but now things are way quieter, just a couple clouds left over. So just like that, the bulk of the front has moved through our area, at least here locally where our station's placed. Doing another tour, some cameras here. That is Lakewood Ranch. A little hard to see, kind of dark out there. Of course, that's a disadvantage that we have when not the best lighting. Some of these cameras, they're beautiful during the day, but at night there's not as much city lights like this one. The Tampa camera, that's always lit up pretty well, so we can certainly see better. Still, hazy out there. We have some fog, definitely some fog in places that haven't really seen the rain, and then kind of after the rain moves through, it's like a steam bath, right? Out of a sauna. The atmosphere is trying to cool down. The rain does its job, helps cool down the atmosphere, but we still will have some of that moisture left over for anybody curious. We had an issue with fog the last couple of nights, actually, because it's been so warm and humid. And then let's see if we can check out Armature Works. Yep, looks pretty wet. So those are all of our local cameras. All right, let's get you back to our radar loop so we can see what's going on. Yeah, I'm surprised that the National Weather Service did not extend that flood warning, just because we've had some rainfall rates that have been pretty significant. Now, they have that flash flood warning going until 9:15. So you can see most of the heavier rain out of there now. So they probably will be trimming that back soon or expiring it. And I have a phone call. Hold on one second. All right. I ordered some dinner, just to be transparent. Yes, so, okay, sorry about that, everybody. That's what happens when you're on live TV, I suppose. All right, so yes, we now have the heavier rain. Let's get some of these rainfall rates. So definitely still coming down at a pretty healthy pace. You can see, now this is just over the Skyway. Rainfall rates still just under 2 inches an hour. Okay, closer to the Skyway, it's about ½ inch an hour, but that's still a pretty moderate rain. Ruskin, where the National Weather Service office is located, they are getting about 1 inch an hour. And moving into, got to reset here. Hold on one second. Hey, Sebastian, can you come grab this? I apologize. All right. Live TV here. And okay, Bradenton Beach, they are also seeing that rainfall rate just under 2 inches an hour. So yes, very significant rain. For anybody that missed it at the beginning of this show, and again, I apologize about my phone there, we've had 3 to 4 inches of rainfall where that purple strip is located. So that extends all the way from basically north of Zephyr Hills to Dunedin. That includes areas south of Tarpon Springs. We did have our reporter out that way earlier trying to see, or a photographer trying to see if we could get any video of some of those flooded roadways. But these are all areas that are starting to improve. Moving into, let's check out the graph model. We were showing you the high-res model earlier. This is our in-house model. And it's going to show pretty much the same thing where within the next hour, this front is moving southward, sinking south. So southwest Florida will have most of this rain really closer to midnight. I'm pleased with how fast this has been speeding up. And we will have a few hours here where the rain does slow down, but moving into tomorrow morning, now this particular model doesn't go out that far to where we're looking at 6, 7 o'clock. The European does and the HER is, but this model is not at this time. The data drops out. So you can see some lighter rain at that time, but I believe we will have another round of some steady to moderate rainfall for portions of our area during that commute. All right, let's get you to our weather impact for tomorrow. I have my timeline up here. And what's the load? There we go. So again, for tomorrow, we have that morning rain, likely between the hours of about 6, 7, 8 a.m. It's just one last hit of rainfall, and then we will start the process of clearing and drying out. Now, I will say most of our northernmost counties, Citrus County, Hernando County, Pasco County, they will be a little bit on the drier side because that drier, cooler air is starting to settle in. Let me see if I can actually bring you to the temperature map here. This is kind of like inside baseball. We're doing all our maps together. But okay, Marv has that taken up full, so you can see the temperatures as well as our weather impact alert. That's what that red bar is when we're talking about those weather impact alerts. Basically, whenever it's an inconvenience to you. And moving into current temperatures, this will display a nice view of where that front, it's like, where's the cold front, right? So let's look a little closer. Yeah, you can see how the state is divided in half. Warmer air to the south there. Key West is sitting at a warm 79. That's pretty warm, right, for 8:30 at night. Miami in the same boat. But here in Tampa, we're already cooling to the 60s. Jacksonville, cooler to the low 60s. And then you see how temperatures really get cold on the other side of all that air that's left over on the back side of that front. Now, we won't get quite that chilly. The next few mornings here, once this system is out of here, we will return to marks, which I think is pretty pleasant. That's just my opinion. I'm sure there's people on here that will let me know their opinion, but we have marks that will be in the 50s. And you can see our average temperature this time of the year for the morning, usually around 57 in Tampa. Of course, this doesn't include our northernmost locations. They usually are on the cooler side. But we will return to marks close to average, slightly below average, especially when you look at those daytime highs. The morning slightly below average, but the daytime highs definitely below average by about 5 degrees or so, which isn't terrible. Actually feels pretty refreshing. So for tomorrow, that's 74. We likely will hit that earlier in the day. Usually we hit our highest temperature in the afternoon. But since we have this front moving through, we will continue to cool down throughout the day, and it will be pretty breezy on the backside of that front. We're looking at some northwest winds, 10 to 20 miles per hour, not the best boating conditions. Right now, there's no boating or marine alerts to tell you about, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did issue a little caution for the next couple of days just while those winds calm down again. And then moving into Tuesday, a couple clouds left over. Otherwise, temperatures not too bad. Cooler, definitely, on the backside of that front. Wednesday, the sun's back. Thursday as well for the Bucks, the poor Bucks today. They were working through that rain. I was watching the game live, and man, it was